Hi, my name is Rebecca Finn, and my presentation is on the focus on test scores have killed creativity in the American educational system. And this is my final project for EDU 534. So the American educational system in general has a lot of great characteristics. For one, it's free and mandatory for students from kindergarten through 12th grade. The teachers are highly qualified. Teachers have to have a bachelor's degree and go through certain credentials and certifications in order to be able to work with the students. As a nation, we also have rigorous standards that students, teachers, and schools are held accountable for achieving. We also would offer free lunch and transportation as needed for the students. And then there's a variety of courses and pathways for the students in the system to take as their interests allow them to. But like all good things, there's always ways to get better. And so a problem that I wanted to discuss in the American educational system is the emphasis that we place on standardized testing and the high stakes that come along with that. So students, teachers, schools, and districts are all under pressure when standardized tests come around. And the average student in the American educational system takes 112 standardized tests from kindergarten through their senior year, which equates to 20 to 25 hours per school year of just standardized mandated tests. That does not include the tests that students take just within their classroom that our teacher made. So our students in America spend a lot of their educational experience taking tests and preparing for tests. Now, this is a significant problem because of the amount of time and stress associated with these tests. There are negative implications. So, for one, students experience test anxiety that comes along with these tests. And for another negative implication, there is a loss of time and opportunity for creativity and innovation. A teacher that was well recognized said, I can no longer cooperate with a testing regime that I believe is suffocating creativity and innovation in the classroom. We are not really educating our students anymore. We are merely teaching them to pass a test. This is wrong, period. And he said that and then ended his career as a teacher due to the way that the system was moving. He felt that students no longer had the time or the opportunities to be creative and innovative in the classroom, and that we were merely teaching them how to pass a test. And the cartoon that I have attached here is somebody going through a interview, and the interviewer says, so you were educated in the public school system. What does that qualify you to do? And the interviewee responds, is that a multiple choice, true, false, or fill in the blank question? Now, to go into more detail about test anxiety, the definition is test anxiety is a psychological condition that involves severe distress before, during, and or after an exam, making it impossible for them to do their best work. So this is something that is actually a concern for students and does not allow them to have their best performance. With test anxiety, there can be physical, emotional, and behavior symptoms such as headache, shortness of breath, anger, fear, and negative thoughts. I personally think that the SAT and the ACT are two of the big tests that have a lot of anxiety associated with them. That students feel like there's such high stakes, and that if they don't do well on these tests, colleges won't accept them, and they start to feel that anxiety. And the cartoon that I have here is a doctor saying, tests make you nervous and break out in what? Because the poor guy got so nervous that he actually had a medical condition due to his test anxiety. The other negative implication that I brought up was that spending so much time focusing and emphasizing tests results in a loss of creativity and innovation in the classroom. Teachers are under a lot of pressure to make sure that students are prepared by the end of the year to take the test, which correlates with them teaching to the test. They spend a lot of their time in the classroom just teaching students how to pass the test, how to do well on a test, how to prepare for a test, and of course what is going to be on the test. This often results in teachers moving at a faster pace than appropriate because they have this stress of being able to get through the curriculum without missing a beat. In the video Future of Education, Is It Possible to De-School Society? The speaker discusses the concerns with an institutionalized system and what that means for individual interests. And he brings up a great point that we in the school system teach students just to sit down, listen, and memorize, and not to really think, create, and innovate for themselves, which later on in life does not prove to be helpful. Overall, we just need to take the time and have the ability to integrate more room for creativity and innovation, because ultimately creativity means to grow. And that's what we would like our students to do, is just to grow as individuals throughout their educational experience. So this little interview is, I see you did well in school, but what real world skills do you have? And the interviewee says tests. I can take tests. So at the end of school, he goes to get a job, and his skill is that he knows how to take a test. He has mastered that skill. And we know that after school, life doesn't really give tests. It's there are no multiple choice tests in our careers and such. So the students in Finland generally score higher on international standardized tests. They only have to take one test, and it's at the end of their senior year. They start school a little bit later. They're not mandated to start school until age 7. And their teachers' philosophy is that they are focusing on the day-to-day successes of their students. They are not placing too much emphasis on how students perform on one test at the end of the year. And no one test defines their entire school year. Students also spend more time playing, and teachers spend less time in the classrooms. They spend less time in the classroom, and they have more time to develop curriculum that is appropriate for the students that they are teaching. Also, there are no rankings or comparisons of schools in Finland. So it's just a very different system and way of teaching, yet they prove to be more successful on the standardized tests when they take them, even though they're not very interested in them. Now, a possible solution that I wanted to mention, and I don't think it's the end all be all, but it is a step forward, is not to eliminate standardized tests entirely, but just to integrate other forms of assessment, such as a student portfolio. Now, this allows students to see their progress throughout the entire school year versus just based on 1 week of testing or 1 day of testing, which ultimately allows flexibility for those bad days when life happens. It also would ease the anxiety, and it gives teachers something to look back at throughout the school year and for the students to reflect on throughout the school year as well. And these are my references. Thank you so much for watching my presentation.